So you clinched. How's
did.
that feel?
Pretty good. I think if you'd have told us we'd clinch with 10 games to go, we'd be pretty happy with that. So, yes, step in the right direction. Definitely step one.
What was the mood like with the team after that? Did you celebrate, or like how the locker room feel that night?
A little bit. I mean, these are things you don't really take for granted anymore. When you get a little further in your career, it's not a given that you're playing in the playoffs. So, I mean, yeah, there's a little celebration. It's nothing crazy, but definitely something to be happy about, and I mean, something that we've earned. So it's definitely a cause for a little bit of celebration.
Jacob, first place is obviously in play for you guys. How important is that in the locker room to finish first, just as another goal?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more wanting to play well and continue to win games. I mean, it's tough you don't want to get complacent and say you're in and kind of coast and not be ready to play. You want to stay at the top of your game, and in order to do that, you got to win hockey games. And I mean, that's obviously we want to keep winning games, and that puts us in first place.
How do you approach these last couple of games? Do you look to ramp up your game, or maybe take a rest and try to,
Definitely not take a rest. I think that's kind of where you get in trouble. I think it's just doing the same thing that have got us here, playing the same way, and just playing to be ready to play when the playoffs do come. I think that's the main goal, is being at the top of your game when it's time to start the playoffs. And I mean, guys might have different ways of doing that personally, but as a team, we want to keep playing the same way and keep building our game.
Does the fact that the team you're playing in the game after you clinch is the team you're battling for first place with, does that energize this team a little bit?
I think any time when you get down to like this late in the year, you're playing teams that are in the playoffs, and those are good games. You want to see where you kind of stack up. So I think, coming down the stretch, I would say every game against a playoff team will probably have a little bit of a different feel across the league, not just us. That's just kind of how it goes every year. So, yeah, I mean, they want first place too, so it should be a fun game for us.
Why do you think you guys have gone on the upward trajectory in the last 10 so games? What has been the reason for people say peaking, whatever, climbing at the right time, I guess?
I mean, I think the new guys we brought in have obviously done a lot for our group. They fit in excellent. I'd say they filled some pretty big holes that have played well. That's probably the biggest thing. But as a team, we're meshing pretty well and pretty cohesive in how we're playing. And when we play simple and we know what the other players are going to do, it makes our game faster, and I think we've been good at that.
Coach was saying to focus on defense and limiting grade A chances. Do you think that's been something that stood out?
We've been better, I'd say. I think we still have given up some that I think we'd like back. Goalies have played really well. It's come playoff time. I think that Pittsburgh game was pretty close to tight checking, not a ton of chances, and that's more what playoff hockey brings. So I think getting more into that mindset and that attitude of you can't afford to make mistakes and give up grade A chances in the playoffs doesn't bode well in the end. So I think getting that into our game and that focus and that execution, I think, is something we want to focus on over these next 9.
When you think about when you got here to now, has this climb to being real contenders been on the timeline you would have expected? Has it happened faster than you would have expected? What do you think?
No, I'd say it's pretty much how timeline I expect. I think pandemic threw everything off a little bit just to make things a little different. But yeah, I mean, it's been a continual build here. I think culture, everything kind of throughout the room, throughout the organization has been on the up. And I mean, I think we're ready for this as a team, as a group, as the whole organization. This is where we wanted to get back to, and we're here. Now it's time for the players to step up and play and make some noise.
The word culture gets thrown around a lot. Can you describe what the culture is in the Rangers? We're not in the room. We don't get to go in the room anymore.
I know, it's great.
Ouch.
It's not even like we were in there that long.
I would say there's an expectation of winning. There's an expectation of what you bring to the rink every day, how you act, how you treat people. I think we don't have any. I would say everyone's basically on that page of following that guideline, that expectation of how we act and carry ourselves here and away from the rink. And I think that's the biggest thing. How to be a teammate. I mean, I'd say the majority of our group is having a lot of fun this year, and it's very enjoyable to come to the rink. Obviously, winning helps that, but being able to come to the rink every day with a smile, like I said, playing a couple of years, it's not every year that you get to come to the rink feeling good and having a ton of fun. So we're loving it. We're going to enjoy it, and we're having a lot of fun. We want to keep this thing rolling.
What are your thoughts of Carolina and this style of play?
Obviously, very, very in your face, hard forechecking. I mean, when they get buzzing around, they get buzzing around, but don't really lose your composure. Keep a lot of it to the outside. There's a lot of rim pucks. You're gonna rim pucks. It's gonna be a lot of wall battles. A lot of up and down in transition, and a lot of skating. So it's that's kind of how they play. I mean, we can play that game, but at the same time, we're probably gonna be in our D zone a little bit with how they forecheck and how they play, and that's fine. Just stay tight and compact and composed, and when we get our opportunities, we get our opportunities.
One for Igor. Curious, as a defenseman, what type of security blanket is it to have that guy and the way he's played all season behind you? Does it allow you the freedom to do things that you maybe wouldn't normally do if it was another?
It shouldn't, but I would say yes. You know he's back there, and I mean you don't want to give up the 2-on-1s and the breakaways and the odd man rushes, but I mean when you do, his save percentage I'd say against breakaways is probably the best I've ever seen. I don't know what it actually is, but it seems like he's pretty hot in those situations. So, and knowing he's back there, it definitely gives you a little more confidence that he's never out of this thing. He's going to battle and compete and make saves. And I mean, every good team has a great goalie, and we definitely have one of those.